Yeah, I gotta get a better vocabulary. What up, Kevin Newman? How you
What's up
doing?
with
Good
it?
morning, man.
What's
What's up,
good,
bro?
champ?
Hold on, let me fix this. How's it going, man? Hold on, let me fix
All
this.
good,
There we
all
go.
good.
All right, there we go. What's the word, man?
Chilling, chilling, man. How you feeling? Too
I'm
early
good,
for
bro.
you? I know you out here in Vegas.
No, no, no. I got my kids and everything, so no, it's all good. It's all good.
Cool, cool. So
Yes,
let's
sir. A dad
let's
life.
yeah, that dad like let's jump right into it, man. Obviously, you got back shaking. What would
Yeah.
you grade this last performance?
I mean, I fought a guy that he was like 19-10, with 13 wins by knockout, but it was just something for me to just get back in quick. I mean, but the thing about it was is he came in, he weighed in on fight day. So he weighed in on fight day. He was 190.
Mm.
And I weighed in at 172. So the day before, so it was just like I was fighting a cruiserweight. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it wasn't nothing for me. They came back. They was like, "Kev, we got to cancel the fight. He's too big." I said, "Man, look, get dude in the ring, man. It's time to work." And so I just handled him easy. By the time we got done with the fight, it looked like he got beat up real bad, man. So I take that. I take that with a grain of salt. Of course, I'm appreciative to get back in there, but I knew he wasn't on my level anyway.
So what's the plan? Do you think you're gonna make it onto that May 2nd card? Is there room for you on it? Do you know?
Um, nah, that I know that card is from what I'm told is specific to only like those
Those three
3 or 4
fights.
fights. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Damn. So there's not
but I
gonna
mean,
be undercards on that. That's wild.
nah, 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 nah. It's just those specific 3 fights. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, right?
For sure.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I might have something, maybe working on something April 29th in Miami. And then if not that, then May 3rd on another card. So I'm looking to stay busy.
Have you ever considered or been contacted by Pro Box?
Actually, when I was working with this management team, ProBox had talked to them about possibly working with me, but just the deal just never materialized. So, but I mean, if it's a good opportunity, I'm open to it.
I mean, I got a tough opportunity in mind. It's certainly a
Yeah,
good opportunity because it'll put you in position. Obviously, they're starving for someone to face Lester Martinez with the
yeah,
68-pound division being, congested because of Canelo and the titles.
right,
There's no title shots, outside of everyone
right,
trying to fight Keller Plant for the interim. There's no title shot. Lester is number
right.
two. He has a version of the WBA. You know, you're not ranked, so it would put you in position if they can even get it approved. Do you know which is
Right.
the sanctioning body that you're the highest ranked in?
It would be the WBA. Hold
Okay.
on, it got Can you see me?
Yeah, I see you.
Yeah,
Up,
yeah.
not anymore.
Hold on. Can you hear me now?
We hear you and see you. It's
Gotcha.
Okay,
actually
yeah,
sounds
no, it
better.
would it would be it would be the it would be the WBA.
Okay.
The WBA is I have a NABA WBA title, so it would be that sanctioning body.
What did you think of Lester Martinez, your number two here in the WBA, where you're saying you're the most ranked at?
Yeah. What did I think? What did I think of him?
Yeah, did you see his performance with
I
Joshan
saw
James?
a highlight. Yeah, actually, I did see it. I mean, what I saw. I mean, it didn't look like it was anything spectacular except from the knockout. I mean, the knockout was a beautiful knockout, but to be fair, I mean, Joshan James is a game kid, but he's a middleweight.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a middleweight. He was a middleweight moving up. And I mean, he upset a couple guys, but I think that Martinez was just too big for him. And I mean, he caught him with a hell of a shot. But to me, I mean, on the outside looking in, watching, the boxing aspect of it, I mean, Lester's a strong guy. He hits hard, but he's kind of straight up and down. It's nothing that stands out about him. I know he has a pretty good engine, but in terms of boxing skills, it's nothing that's like, oh shit. He has good power. Good power, aggressive guy. And he has a few tricks, but it's nothing crazy. So
I love that
in my
you.
opinion.
I love that you don't. That you not that you not, you welcome that fight. Have you guys crossed paths? Because he's out here in Vegas a lot with the Bomac team. Have they
Yeah.
crossed? Oh, you did spar.
No, 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 no. We've never crossed paths before, actually. Though. No, but I know he's out here in Vegas from what I've seen on, like, social media. You see like Bomac posts his guys. I follow Bomac on Instagram, so you see those guys, but we never crossed paths before.
So does that even matter? Or like Floyd said, the trainer can't get in there and fight for you. Cause like, do you even consider something like, oh shit, this guy's trained by Bomac? Does that make it a tougher
Well,
fight? This guy's trained by Robert Garcia. Does that make it a tougher fight? Or like Floyd said, the fight, the trainer can't get in there and fight for you.
Well, of course, our trainers can't get in there and fight for us. I'm trained by Roy Jones. I mean, and with that being said, it's like Roy can't get in there and fight for me. He could give me all the game, he could give me all the knowledge, but he can't go in there and fight for me. And it's the same thing. Bomac's a hell of a trainer, a hell of a strategist. They have a great team over there. With multiple guys. I mean, but at the end of the day, the fighters got to do the fighting. So but I mean, he has a good team. He has a good team of people. You got to respect that.
For sure. So to be clear, you would take that fight next. Or is
I
that
would take it.
something you
Yeah.
need a tune up for another shape, another tune up before you would you take that next? Because he do got a
No, if
WBA strap.
Yeah, if they offered it to me and it actually made sense and they weren't just offering me just some pennies for it, of course I would take it. Of course, I mean I look at I'm not a one of these guys that price themselves out and stuff like that, but it would have to make some sense. You know what I'm saying? And that's the biggest thing. It had to make some type of sense. It couldn't just be, oh well, yeah, we're gonna give you $10,000. It's like, well, what, what I'm saying? Like, I made more fighting on Jake Paul and Devin's undercards like three times the amount of that. You know what I'm saying? But of course I would take the opportunity. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. These
That
guys. See, I don't look at these guys like these guys are boogeymen. You understand what I'm saying? It's like that's the thing. That's the difference between me and a lot of these other fighters. I mean, it's like if it makes sense, I'm all for it. Of course, and then staying active is the biggest thing for me. That's the biggest thing. Yeah, do you want to go in there fighting a guy like Lester Martinez after being off a year? Nah, but you got to do what you got to do at the end of the day as well.
for
So
sure.
yeah.
Do you feel that there is a time clock ticking on the career, or do you feel
Oh,
that
I think we
you
lost him,
could go
Ness.
at your? Oh, we lost him. Shit.
Can you hear me now? It
We
cut
hear
off.
you. We
My
hear
bad.
you.
Yeah, we
Do you
got
feel
you.
like you have a time clock on your career, or do you feel like you could still go at your own pace? Because again, you are 33. People
Yeah.
looking at Crawford being 37 and saying and even Wilder being 39, and they're, the critics like to put an expiration date on the boxer's career.
Nah, man, I don't look at it like I look at it like this, like, of course time is ticking, and that's the thing, yeah, but I'm in my prime, and I feel better than I've ever felt. I'm 33, but I'm a young 33. I'm fresh, I haven't taken no punishment, been dropped or knocked down or been in grueling, beat up and stuff like that. I'm a young 33, but in terms of boxing and like from what I understand what the promoters and the people are looking at, they look at the age. They really play a big thing on the age, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, but in terms of my clock is ticking for myself because I know what I want to get done. And the older you get, the less those opportunities come your way. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's just to go out there and perform every single time out and put on a show where people want to actually see you. Oh, hey, well, this guy, he looks good, man. We would like to see him versus this guy, or how would this fight go? You know what I'm saying? So I mean, with 33, I feel great. I feel amazing. My body, everything is intact. So I feel like the time is now.
So your name has been trending a little bit. You've
Yeah.
been getting into some social media back and forths. Obviously, Devin, got into it with Rosado and
Yeah.
wanted to see you and Rosado mix it up. Has
Yeah.
anything come from that? Have you tried to DM Rosado? Because again, you know, these are the names you need at this point. You need some
Right.
names. You've been doing this for a minute. It's time
Right.
for you to get where you need to go. So, like, did you
Right.
reach out to see if y'all could personally make it on some Crawford and Earl shit?
Like I just made a post and I made a post and I like add him and stuff like that. I never reached out in his like actual DM and be like, hey man, like let's fight. Like I've never done that, but I mean, these guys see these posts, the Caleb plan, he's seen these posts. Um, he's actually been on my page, you could see who's in your stories. He's been on my page multiple times watching my stories and stuff like that. I mean, Gabe is looking for, Gabe is looking for a payday. He's looking to get Berlanga in the ring and get a payday, but he's in the way for real. I mean, he's coming off of, 4 losses and hasn't done anything in God knows how long. I mean, he knocked out Bektamir, but it was like, I don't know if that was back in like 2020 or something like that. But he's just looking for a payday. But I don't know if he's necessarily looking my way. But I would definitely take that fight, and I would just I feel like I would whoop him. And that's just my opinion. Um, I feel like, yeah, he's been around. He's had respect for a long time. But at the end of the day, man, it's like if you are trying to get these fights, and there's other fighters that are out there that want these fights as well, that are still pushing to get to that point. It's like, bro, you calling for these fights and you coming off 4 L's. That's disrespectful to the guys that's putting in work every day. He's a broadcaster and a podcast guy. He's not even a full-time fighter. So it's like, if you're not a full-time fighter, then you might as well just stay out the way. So but if that opportunity presented itself, absolutely. Absolutely. At the drop of a dime.
Yeah, that would be a great fight.
Yeah.
Good style matchups, I think. But you also had, Plant. Did
Yeah.
How do you feel about Plant not choosing you and instead going Armen Resendez? I know his last name is Resendez. Do you feel you would have been a better fight for Plant on May 31st? Do you feel you're a better fighter than Resendez?
Look, I'm gonna put it like this. I've spoke to actually Trevor McCumbie's his trainer. And Caleb's excuse, he asked him why he didn't choose me when I was calling him out earlier last year. His excuse was I had a couple losses to guys years and years ago, early in my career, right? Now he's fighting a guy that lost to a guy that I beat handedly, like whooped. And he's fighting a guy that's coming off that won a split decision versus a guy that I thrashed. So make it make sense. That's a middleweight that he's about to fight. We're both in Vegas. Everybody in Vegas, around Vegas, knows me. Obviously, Caleb is the star. He's the main attraction, and Charlo. But around Vegas, that's the type of fight. If me and him were to fight, where you would see Floyd Mayweather come out and watch it. Because he's been in the gym with us and seen us spar. You see Andre Ward probably pull up. You see Roy Jones. You see multiple. Would be it would be completely different. So, but for him to choose a blown up middleweight in Vegas, like I'm in Vegas, I'm right here. All you gotta do is call my phone. How people call my phone, and that's that. But I,
But again, Kev,
you
I'm
know,
sure you and Plant have sparred.
of course, and that's
So
the
that's my
thing, and I
point.
think
Why
that
not? Why not hit these guys up? Like they know you. They gonna dap you up when they see you in the gym. Like so when you text them like champ, I see damn he fell off. Hello, you back?
no, I'm here.
Okay. So he
Uh
fell off.
oh.
I'm just saying, y'all get what I'm saying though?
Yeah, yeah. Go right to the source, like Buzz.
My bad, bro.
I'm
My
just
bad.
saying,
Now I was listening. So
I
you
feel
say when you
like
see these guys,
yeah, I feel like if you walk into the gym, Plant gonna dap you up. So if you text him like Plant, you know what I'm saying, put me on, like give me that fight. Like why
see the
like
thing. The thing with it is this: I seen him at the Team Combat League thing, right? It was in L.A. And it's he seen me. It was like, hey, bro, you're looking good. Keep up the great work. Blah blah blah. We should spar sometime like we used to back in the day. And I'm like, nah, like the sparring shit is over with, bro. Like for me, and it's like you hear things around that come out of people's mouth. I've heard in the past Caleb say, oh yeah, Kevin is good in the gym, but can he do it in the lights? And the thing is, of course, I could do it under the lights. I put it together under the lights. I put it together in the gym, and I put it together on him in the gym, and he understands that. And I think that's the thing. So it's like when you hear people say shit like that, then it's like, okay, bro, like sparring is over with. We passed that point. He's a former world champion. Respect to that. But I mean, bro, like I'm here, and he knows I'm here because see, the thing is, like I said, Caleb will be on my page. He'll be, looking at my stories and watching my shit, watching my stuff. So it's like he knows I'm here, but it's just a matter of him choosing to go whatever route that they feel is the best for them. I know he's trying to get the Charlo fights and the stuff like that. But to be fair, Caleb's a hell of a fighter. He's tough. He has a hell of a skill set. But the way I feel right now, he wouldn't even make it to Charlo if he fought me. And I think that, that's just that. A lot of people on his team know what has happened when me and him at box. And with that being said, it's just that. I don't care to get into the sparring talk and all that stuff. That stuff is not really my thing, but he knows what I did to him. And there was a comment that was posted on the sparring session about the sparring between him and Berlanga, about what he did to Berlanga and about what I did to Berlanga. But Caleb knows what I did to him too. So if he felt like I do it in the gym, but I can't do it on the lights. Well, shit. Then why not? Why couldn't we could have just did it in Vegas, and then he could have just showed that. But I mean, he has a plan, and him and his team are sticking to that. So respect to them.
I mean, that's another good fight, but is it even worth it to you to call Berlanga out? He seems to be.
So yeah, Berlanga, man, like we had our little thing like a few years ago, right? And where he just went crazy, man, and just started talking crazy. And I'm like, bro, like, you know, the, he just got real disrespectful. So there was a boxing fan expo in Vegas in 20 and last year, and I seen him. So I told Roy, I'm like, I was at Roy, me and Roy were together. I was at his little section. I said, Roy, so I'm gonna go see what's up with Berlanga. I'll be right back. As soon as I seen Berlanga, I looked at him. He seen me, and I nodded at him like this, like to come holler at me. And he came over there, man, and it was nothing but handshakes and hugs. And I was like, bro, look, I said, man, listen, all that shit. I said, all that shit, bro. I said, man, you got it. You gonna have to see me, bro. I said, you was talking crazy. He was like, oh yeah, man, yeah, man, I got something big coming up. I got we got the Canelo fight coming up. This before he was even fighting Canelo, but he already knew. Yeah, but I said, bro, I said, that's cool. I said, well, you take care of that. And I said, and we'll run this down the line. But see, it's like I'm gonna make you stand on what you say. I'm not gonna do the Caleb Plant shit and get in your face and act a fool. You know what I'm saying? Like, he pressed. See, this is another thing, right? Caleb will get in these guys' face. He'll pull up on Berlanga. He's very smart. He knows how to make a fight. One thing I will say about Caleb, he knows how to make a fight. He'll get in these guys' face. You saw he walked up on Berlanga and what's up with me and you? What's up with the fight with me and you? Then all of a sudden, this it's rah rah shit and it's back and forth. I heard the same thing with the Charlo situation. He got in Charlo face and Charlo started grabbing on his beard and ended up smacking him. Now everybody wants to see the fight. So it's one of them things where Caleb knows how to stir it up and shit like that. But then there was a situation in LA at the Crawford fight when a fighter walked up to him and tried to do the same thing. Next thing you know, everybody's jumping on the fighter. They're beating the fighter up,
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, I
That's
seen
wild.
that. You talking
yeah,
about
so
his old
Oh,
sparring partner though? That was
yeah.
Ahmed Abba Ali.
Man, so
oh
and
man.
I man, like so I got a text that night, right? Because I was at the fight, and the person panicked. They said, Kevin, listen, if you're thinking about coming up to Caleb and trying to start a fight or trying to get a fight, don't do it. This guy just got jumped. I said, what are you talking about? They was like, yeah, man, we heard you're gonna come. I said, bro, I don't even know where Caleb's at. I said, I ain't looking for Caleb. I'm over here in my chair watching the fights. You know what I'm saying? I'm not out here walking around looking for this guy for what? And they were like, I'm like, man, I'm not worried about him. I said, listen, I said, me and Caleb don't have no beef. I said, so it's not like I'm out here looking for him. But if you there's nothing wrong wanting to fight somebody, you know what I'm saying? But I don't gotta run down on you because I know at the end of the day, you look at Caleb, he'll run down on these guys, man, and everybody's backing it. Not everybody gets that same type of treatment. You see what happened to Ahmed. He ran down on Caleb and got jumped on by 10 people. So I mean, but me and Caleb have seen each other multiple times through the years, and it ain't been no thing. So but I mean, that's definitely a fight that should have happened May 31st. That could have happened May 31st at the drop of a dime. He's fighting a blown up middleweight that has lost to guys that I whooped on. But his excuse was I had a couple losses, so he didn't. want to fight me. I'm like, okay, bro, whatever the fuck you say. So for me, I'm gonna just keep knocking on the door, man, until I, eventually kick that bitch in, and that's just that. They're in the
So
car.
obviously, the detractors,
They're in
the
my bag.
haters, they're gonna have something to say. You brought up the losses, so I wanted to give you an opportunity to address those 3 losses and how you
Yeah.
feel you're different from those fights and the person you were when you lost those fights and who you are now.
So the fight that I lost to Hernandez in 2017 on Floyd's card versus McGregor, I was extremely sick, man. I probably shouldn't even have been fighting, but I'm a fighter. I'm gonna do what I got to do, and I
Oh,
think you know the
whoa,
story. That's
whoa, champ.
you know
Fuck
what's that.
going. They said you
Well, I
had
said
a
I'm a fighter. I'm gonna
contract.
do what I got to do.
No, they said you had a contract for Leicester.
I had a contract for Leicester. I never had a contract in my life for Leicester.
Maybe
Not
Bomac.
once have I
Oh,
had a contract.
Maybe Bomac is wrong because Bomac is his manager. So I hit him up and I'm like, yo, would you give Kevin Newman a shot versus Lester Martinez? Because you're not ranked in the top 15, so they
Right.
would have to pull some strings. And his response was that I was scheduled to fight and you pulled out to fight
Man,
somebody else.
we were never scheduled to fight. Never once and ever were we scheduled to fight. There was talks about us fighting before, and it was something that I had another opportunity on the table. There was never a contract. No one sent me a contract and said, "Hey, you're gonna fight Lester Martinez this date, this weight for this price." That never happened. I got reached out. They said, "What do you think about Lester Martinez fight?" So I said, "Well, I got this date coming up," and that was that. So, and actually, yeah, that was last year. So to touch back on that, matter of fact, I got hit up from my people. They was like, yeah, Lester Martinez, blah blah blah. Well, this is the purse. So of course, I work with Dev. Talking to Dev, I'm like, look, this is the opportunity. He's like, nah. He's like, we got. I have a show coming up, and we're gonna put you on this and that. I said, okay, cool. Well, that was that. So that was the opportunity. Yeah, they reached out, but I never had a contract. There was never nothing that was sent to me for me to fight. I just got someone had asked if I would want to fight him, and that was that. But it was never a no. It was just a okay. I have something else on the table right now. So no, it
it's
was
just a
never.
verbal.
Yeah, it was just a verbal. Just someone just reached out and it was like, would you fight him? And I'm like, yeah, of course I would fight him. I said I'm not ducking no fades, but I have this on the table. So that was what was already on the table. The
Word,
keys are in
word, word.
the gym bag. Go try and start the car then. Yeah, no, I
Mini
didn't get no
cut.
contract though. That's a lie. I don't know where Bomac is getting his information from. That's not true.
All right. Well, we're gonna work on it. We're gonna work on
Yeah,
it. Trying to text Pro Box, see what they could do. Well, first confirm there ain't no contract, and then see what's up. See do they like it.
yeah,
They
yeah.
definitely watching though. He said he just tuned in. But we got a
Who's
couple
that?
questions. The owners of Pro Box.
I just
Oh,
got
okay,
one
okay, okay.
question, man.
Yo,
What about Trevor McCumbee? Like I know you said you know his trainer, so I feel like that
yeah,
would be a good fight for you because he did put down Plant. He did put him
right,
down on his pockets. That'd
right.
be a
No,
fight you interested
me and Trevor, we actually boxed when we
That's a
boxed
good
when we
fight.
were, we boxed when we boxed. Yeah, yeah, we boxed back when we were younger, and actually he was like 5-0, like 5 knockouts at the time. He was training with Kenny Adams, and he got in there and he got what he got, So me and him, we've all boxed, and Trevor knows what it is. He knows what it is with me. We got footage of that, matter of fact, But like I said, I don't care to talk about sparring too much, man. But when you hear guys like Plant say, "Oh well, so this guy he could do it in the gym, but can he do it in the lights?" But he knows what I did to him, and anybody that was there that day knows what I did to him. And that's what I said. These guys ain't what really people think that they are like that. That's the thing. But like I said, hats off to him. He's done great in his career. He's made a hell of a name. He's made a hell of a career. And I mean, he's became world champ, something I haven't done. So respect to him, man. But Trevor, I would take the Trevor McCumbee fight. They could call me now. I know he's with Pro Box. All you got to do is,
in?
is is call me. I'll take that fight
Where was that
ASAP.
fight at that you just had? It was in you was
It
you
was
you
in
and Shamar both fought, right? That was in
Yeah, it was in Louisiana. Yeah, yeah. They
Louisiana.
got it listed that I weighed in at 188. I didn't. I weighed in 172. He weighed in 190. So yeah, yeah,
Sure. Well, I got a couple questions from the people I want to get to before we get you out of here.
yeah, yeah.
First one is coming from Toledo Trees. Do you think Devin can get you a David Morrell fight? And what is the hardest thing to cut from your diet during training camp?
Do I think Devin could get me a David Morrell fight? I mean, well, David Morrell fights at 175. I'm fighting at 168. But I mean, of course, he can make calls, and he can do what he can do, I mean, and that's just it. But it's up to these guys if they would be willing to fight me, which I'm sure Morrell would. It's like, but yeah, I'm sure Dev can make things happen. His name is big enough in boxing to where he can make a call. But like I said, you see with the Rosado thing, he mentioned he would love to make a fight with me and Rosado, and just Gabe kind of just ignored it. So it's ultimately up to these guys. And he said, "What's the easiest thing to cut out of a diet?"
Yep. The
He said,
hardest
"What's the
thing.
hardest thing?" For me, it has to be like sweets, man. Like I'm a big sweet person, like desserts and candy and stuff like that. Like I love like that type of stuff. That's the hardest stuff for me to cut out.
What's your favorite candy?
Man, I like chocolate, man. Like I could eat like the Oreo cookies and cream, Hershey's chocolate bars. I could eat the peanut M&Ms. I mean, bro, all that stuff, man. Like I love it all, bro. I love it all.
Nah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So,
I'm
It's you and
definitely
Norman
peanut
Jr.
M&Ms.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
man, I love, man, bro. That's the hardest stuff for me to cut out is those sweets. But after the fight, for sure.
I got Ruin the 504. How are you planning to have more activity this year in the ring?
Well, I mean, like I said, I got a couple guys that I'm working with, so I already have, like I said, I already have two possible dates coming up within the next month. So, it's just when you don't have a promoter and you're kind of, like independent. Well, I work with Deb, but Deb wasn't really promoting. He wasn't really promoting shows like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like kind of like more of an independent thing. It's tough to stay busy, but Deb put me on that one, and then we're gonna go again, and we're gonna keep moving, man. So the activity is just you just gotta you gotta do the best you can do. But one thing about me is I stay in the gym year round. I'm never out the gym, never out of shape. So I'm always ready for whatever comes my way. But like I said, I already have a date either April 29th or May 3rd, so and we'll just keep going from there.
All right. Next one is from Octo. Yo, champ, what's your favorite music artist? And give us one movie we should watch.
Favorite music artist, Michael Jackson. Yeah, he's my favorite music artist. He's the GOAT. As a kid, his music was, a big thing for me, growing up, part of my childhood. And, my kids love Michael Jackson. So, it's like Michael Jackson's definitely my favorite artist. But what was the next question? What was the
One
other one?
good movie we should watch.
One good movie you should watch. Damn, that's a good question, man. Shit, I'm trying to think of what's a movie that. Man, there's just so many. It just depends what you're trying to get out of a movie. You know what I'm saying? Um, Shit. I mean, you see, Val Kilmer just passed away, so we can say Tombstone. Hell of a movie. Hell of a movie.
All right.
If you
Tombstone
haven't
is a
seen it,
great movie. That's a great movie. I
yeah, hell
haven't
of a
seen
movie.
it.
Hell of a movie. Yeah.
Let me see. Next one is from Ali and Dago. What up, Kevin? Who are your top three favorite fighters of all time?
Top three favorite fighters all time: Muhammad Ali, Roy Jones, Sugar Ray Leonard.
Hmm. I got Mr. Benny Hinn. What was something you elevated in your game in the last year?
That's a good question, man. I mean, I think I'm a lot more of a busier fighter than I used to be. I used to when I was training in Vegas, with Jeff, who's a great trainer. Started training me since I was a kid. But just being more active. Like I used to play defense a lot, and I think that's what has got me, a couple of losses that I have. It's not because no one's beat me because they were beating me up or been better than me. That has not happened. I think that being active, Roy has taught me how to stay active in the ring, and constantly be just dominating and winning the rounds, so every second of every round. That's the biggest thing I think that I've been working on the past few years for sure.
All right. Next one is from Malcolm in New York City. He says, What's a country you haven't been to that you want to visit in terms of vacation or even to fight at?
In terms of a country I haven't been to visit, Africa would be dope,
Or
man. I mean,
even to fight at, or even to fight at.
even yeah, Africa would be dope, man. I mean, it's somewhere that I've never been. It's the motherland. It's like that would be dope, man. Especially the history. You got like, the 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 rumble in the jungle and stuff like that. I mean, so it's just like that with that history, it'd be dope. It'd be dope for sure. That
For
I
sure.
haven't visited there or fought there ever.
Donald in Baton Rouge, would you box on a Jake Paul undercard? You did already.
I already have. Yeah, I already have. I fought on Jake versus Nate Diaz. Yeah, but Jake's my guy, man. He's my guy. He's a good friend of mine, man. So yeah, definitely. If the opportunity presented itself, we I would do it again.
You sparred him too?
Yeah, Jake. Yeah, me and Jake boxed multiple times. I came to see. I don't do training camps, but Jake had came to Vegas. Actually, that's how we met. He came to Vegas. He was in Vegas, and BJ Flores, his trainer at the time, was like, "Yo, man, you in town? I want you to box with my guy." I'm like, "Sure." So I boxed with him. He was cool. We kept it light, kept it quick, but I was talking shit to him, and I was just messing with him, because I didn't know who he was and I didn't really give a damn, and I talked a little shit to him. He talked his shit back, about his business stuff and stuff like that. Like I was like, I was boxing with him, and I'm doing whatever I want to do, and he's like, I'm like, man, I said this shit is, I was like, this shit is easy, man. I was like, this is my second or third training for the day. He's like, yeah, that's cool. He said, I just made $500,000 in like 20 minutes or some shit, right? I was like, well, what do you say to that? There's nothing else you could say to that. And then we got out the ring. One of the guys from his team was like acting all tough, like I wouldn't smack the shit out of him. He's no longer with this team, and he was acting all tough. And then Jake was like, "Nah, man, it's cool." Me and Jake dapped it up. We've been cool ever since, man. Super cool.
Dope.
Yeah,
We got the next one says, "Yo, what up? Quest from Norfolk, VA. What's your
yeah.
favorite fight you had, and who's your top 3 boxers to watch right now?"
Favorite fight I've had. Probably the Hernandez fight, man, because I told everybody that that was listening, because people don't care, man. When you in boxing, they don't care if you're sick or if you whatever you have going on. You see guys pull out of fights for being sick. I think with the Lester Martinez kid, he pulled out the day of his fight from being sick. So it's like when shit you like. I go in the locker room, I look up in the locker room, and the lights are spinning. And before I get to the arena, like the day of the weigh-in, I had like sucked in. I had like mucus in my nose, and I spit it out, and it was just bloody, gooey, just a bunch of shit in my mucus, right? So I get an antibiotic and I take it, and it starts to make my stomach hurt like real bad, like to the point to where it was, even if I touched my stomach, it would hurt. So I'm sitting on the couch, with my mom. She's trying to help me out. I couldn't even eat nothing the day of the fight, but I'm like, shit. This is that Jordan flu game moment, right? So I get to the arena, I'm looking up at the lights. The lights are all spinning and shit. And I'm just like, damn, like I ain't never felt like this before. So I go in the fight. I lost a close decision or whatever. And, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't like he beat me or anything like that. It was just not being active enough. So then they call me back couple years later. They're like, because he's going on this thing and he's talking crazy and this and that. They said, you want to fight him? I said, we got a list of guys. I said, I want Hernandez. So we fought on Showbox, and I whooped him from round 1 to round 8. And it's funny, the broadcasters, they were like, well, Newman told us he was sick, and we see now, like it was nothing for me. So that was probably my favorite fight for sure.
All right, I got a few more here, champ. Next one is from Major Media. If you were a created player in an EA Fight Night game, what would
Yeah,
be your current rating for power, speed, and ring IQ?
that's I mean, shit depends. Okay, so the ratings are based out of 1 out of 100. Um, Power, I want to say for super middleweight, probably about a 82-ish, So we'll go 82, 80, 83. It just depends. 82, 83. But speed, definitely in the 90s. You know, high 90s. And ring IQ in the 90s for sure as well. Like people just haven't seen me, man. They haven't seen the best of me. They haven't really seen me. So they don't know what my intangibles are, or they haven't seen me that much. But I'm a very smart fighter, you know, and I'm getting better, man. That's all I can say.
All right, and it looks like the final one is from Tip Bellis in Maryland. Have you tried directly messaging Demetrius Andre for a fight? Yeah, no one asked about that. He is at 68. Would you be willing to
Yeah,
fight Demetrius Andre, and have you
absolutely.
messaged him directly to try to make that? He's been starving for a fight.
Absolutely. I mean, I haven't messaged him, but that's a fight that I would love. Like, you know, these are the fights, those type of fights are the fights that, you know, I want. Of course, you know, yeah, you're not trying to, you know, you don't want to, like I said with the Gabe Rosado thing, skip the line, but that type of fight with the Demetrius Andrade or a Caleb Plant or Edgar Berlanga or these type of fights get you up. You know what I'm saying? Those are the ones that get you really, really, really amped. You know, it's not about the money, man. I think that's where everybody, yeah, of course, it has to make some sense. But like with Jaime Munguia, I got called for Jaime Munguia when he fought the Bruno kid that knocked him out. They called me. They said, "Hey, Jaime Munguia, 100,000 or whatever." They said, "Yeah, Jaime Munguia, you want to fight him?" I said, "Yes." I said, and they were like, they're paying 100,000." I didn't ask what else was on the table. I just said, "Listen, I don't give a damn. Give me the fight." I said, "It's in Mexico." I said, "Okay, okay, cool. I don't care." They called me back. Kevin, he said, "Yeah, okay, cool." Next thing you know, they called me back again. Actually, Kevin, they said, "No, you're too fast, and you know you move too good." They want someone that's going to stand there and sit in front of them, which they got. They got a guy that was going to stand there and sit in front of him, and the guy knocked him out.
Mm.
But Demetrius Andrade, I would definitely take that fight, 100%. I mean, it'd be a hell of a fight. He's to be fair, out of all the guys that we talked about, that would be the toughest fight. You know, he's a very, you know, sharp southpaw. You know, very tricky guy. Not a lot of people want to fight a guy like him, you know, and it's because he's very good at what he does. I mean, yeah, you take the Benavidez fight away, but the work that he did before that, I mean, he has an ugly, awkward style, you know. So it's. But I would definitely take that fight, definitely.
Well, I wouldn't even mind seeing you with Demond Nicholson as long as we could get it on TV. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I would love to fight Demond. Actually, it's funny with Demond Nicholson. We were in the TCL together, and he had got an offer to fight me. Like the guy that was managing me at the time had reached out to him, and it was for a show that was in Vegas, and I guess he didn't. There was something that he said to him or whatever. So I asked him. I was like, "Yo, bro," I'm like, "You know, when we gonna run it, man, for real, like outside of this TCL stuff." And then, you know, he kind of was like, "What you mean?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You know, the office." Like, "Oh yeah, yeah." He was like, "Well, then I guess the bread wasn't enough," is what they said, which is fine. I understand that you gotta feed your family, you gotta take care of your people. So I get that part. But I would definitely fight Demond Nicholson, no problem.
well, champ, those are all our questions. I do want to thank you for giving me the
Of
time, and
course, man.
go ahead
I
and give out
appreciate
your
y'all.
social media in case somebody that isn't following you can do so.
Yeah. At Kevin Newman _II. You can reach out to me. That's on Instagram and Twitter. So yeah, both of those.
All right, champ, man. So as soon as you get some more fight news or anything, let me know. DM me so we can
Oh
schedule you
yes.
back.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you the next couple of dates that I got, and then we'll talk for sure.
All right.
I appreciate y'all having me, man. Thank you.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
you.
Thank you.
Hopefully, we see you on that pro box.
Yeah.
Hey man, that'd be dope,
It's
man. Like
one
I
of
said,
these
they
guys, man.
yeah, no, if they I know, like I said, I know they got McCumbee and they got Martinez, and you know, like I said, they come with something decent, then absolutely, you know, absolutely. Why not? You know,
Send me
so
your
we're just,
your your manager's contact so I can forward it to him.
I'm gonna send you. Yeah, I'll send it to you. I'll
All
send it to you.
right. All right,
Okay.
champ. Take it easy.
All right, man. Y'all be
There
easy.
you have it, ladies
Okay.
and gentlemen. Kevin Newman the second. The show still rocking and rolling. And if we really shake, we could go. If we could go to 10:30.